Amid high tensions between Canada and India, some members of the Indo-Canadian community are being forced to reconsider travel plans. Well, this comes after the Indian government temporarily halted visa services for Canadian citizens. India's Visa Application Center in Canada announced the suspension last Thursday, widening the ever-growing rift between the two countries. The conflict started after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau accused New Delhi of being involved in the killing of a Canadian citizen. And amid this rift, those looking to travel between the two countries would need to already have a valid visa from both Canada and India. Those who have already purchased tickets to India and do not yet have an Indian visa cannot obtain one for now. Well, joining us now to give us his advice for travelers looking to fly to India is Mr. John Gradek, aviation expert and lecturer at McGill University. Mr. Gradek, welcome back to Forum Daily.
My pleasure, Nima.
So, how has this rift between Canada and India impacted overall travel between the two countries?
Well, it's interrupted the travel plans of many Canadians and many Indians. I think that we're looking at, probably about 10, 12,000 people that had booked travel for over the next 60 days. It's peak travel season coming up for Indian travel. So there's a lot of people being inconvenienced now, looking for visas to enter India. So it's not an insignificant issue, dealing with travel.
And really looking into these individuals affected, what do Canadian travelers who have Indian visas need to know before making this trip to India amid these travel advisories and tensions between the two countries?
Well, I think the first step, of course, is getting the visa. The next step is getting into India. As you know, visas are not a guarantee to get into the country, and so that's where it does end up in a situation where, if tensions remain high or get higher, there would be some very real risk that even though you might have a visa, you might still be refused entry into India. So I
And
think that that's where the risks are. Taking a trip to India over the next X number of months until this kind of settles down and the rhetorical debate reduces. It will be a tense time to visit India.
definitely a tense time, Mr. Gradek. Now, what about those who do not have an Indian visa but have already purchased their tickets to India? What are their rights when it comes to refunds or maybe moving their flights?
Yeah, I think that the Canadian government has issued a travel advisory. So with the travel advisory in place, a different set of rules now apply, and I think that again it'll be up to the airline to basically deal with it, because there's nothing in legislation and regulation that basically stipulates a refund or a rebooking or whatever. So it really is a function of how well you talk to the airline, who you talk to at the airline. So getting a refund is probably something that's going to be a bit more difficult than getting a booking at a later date. The trick is going to be, at what date do you plan that trip, and cross your fingers that the dispute will be resolved by then. So, if I was traveling to India, one thing I would have one is insurance, and basically take all risk, all perils insurance. Means that you can cancel anytime for any reason. So have that. And failing that, looking at paying 4 or 5 thousand bucks for a trip for a family of four to India is a significant amount of money. So I would be very careful about spending it.
Definitely some considerations there, sir. Now, you highlighted this a little earlier in the interview, but let's talk about it a little bit more. So, some may not know that a visa does not guarantee you admission into a country. It just permits one to present themselves at a port of entry to seek admission. So, could Canadians potentially be turned away from India now or in the future?
Yeah, I think that's a very distinct possibility. And I do that, and I look at the news headlines, and I look at the messaging that's been going on between both levels of government at this point in time. There's no no thaw in that relationship that's showing up. So yeah, over the next couple of weeks at least, there will be some difficulties for Canadians going in, and that's a high risk area to get into, and then to stay in India would be a very very high risk travel advisory at this point.
All right, Mr. Gradek, lots to consider. Thank you again for joining us today and unpacking this for us.
All right, have a great day. Thank you, Nate.